Dear students, today's topic of my lecture, Physical Word and Measurement, Chapter 2, Part 8. So what you have to learn in this Part 8 that you can see here, dimensions of physical quantities, then dimensional quantity, dimensional constant and dimensional constant, dimensional formula and dimensional equations, dimensional analysis and its applications, especially the three applications that I will discuss. Checking the dimensional consistency of equations. Second one is conversion of units in one system into another system. Deducing relation among the physical quantities. That is the third application. So one by one I explain. So first one is dimensions of the physical quantity. Dimensions of a physical quantity are the powers to which the fundamental or base quantities are raised to represent that quantity. Means when we write a physical quantity in terms of the fundamental or base quantities and some power are raised on it, they are known as dimensions of physical quantity. Nature of a physical quantity is described by its dimensions. Consider a physical quantity, say force. So as we know that force equal to mass into acceleration, and the acceleration is change in velocity upon time interval. So that's why the force can be written as mass into change in velocity upon time interval. But velocity is the displacement upon time interval. So that's why the force equal to mass into displacement upon time interval divided by time interval. So finally you will get force equal to mass into length, that is the displacement measured in length, divided by time interval square, or can be written as mass into length into time raised to the power minus 2. So how you can write this dimension of the force? So from here we can say that there is no power on the mass, that is the power of mass is 1. Similarly, the power of length is 1. Power of time is minus 2. So from here we can say that the dimensions of the force are 1 in mass, 1 in length, minus 2 in time. So thus the force can be written as in terms of mass, length and time. So there is a way to write in the square bracket mass, length and time along with their powers. And these powers, they are the dimensions of physical quantity in terms of mass, length and time here. That can also be written as force equal to mLT minus 2 in a square bracket. So from here it is very clear that the dimension of force in terms of the mass is 1, in terms of the length is 1, in terms of the time is minus 2. You have to note down here the important point is using the square brackets around the quantity means that we are dealing with dimensions of the physical quantity. So that's why it is necessary to put square brackets. Now what is dimensional quantity? Dimensional quantity is a physical quantity which has dimensions. For example, displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, momentum, work, power, torque, etc. All they are the dimensional quantities. Now dimensionless quantity, as its name indicates, dimensionless quantities is a physical quantity which has no dimensions. For example, relative density, refractive index, strain, angle, etc. They are the dimensionless quantities. Now dimensional constant. Dimensional constant is a constant which has dimensions. Means a physical quantity which has the value is constant but also having the dimensions. For example, universal gravitational constant, Planck's constant, Stephen's constant, Boltzmann constant, universal gas constant, Faraday's constant, speed of light, etc. Now dimensionless constant, as name indicate, dimensionless constant is a constant which has no dimensions. For example, all numbers, whether they are real number, a natural number, a whole number, or integers, or decimals, exponential, sine functions, that is trigonometrical functions, pi, etc. They all are the dimensionless constant. Now dimensional formula and dimensional equations. So means what is the meaning of dimensional formula and dimensional equation? So you have already studied that what is dimensions. So dimensions are the raised to the power of the fundamental or the base quantities. They are known as dimensions. So when we write an expression for a physical quantity which shows how and which of the base quantities represent the dimensions of a physical quantity is called dimensional formula of that given physical quantity. For example, we take here the dimensional formula for the volume. So volume is length into breadth into height. So it is measured in length, that is L into L into L. So its dimensional formula is m naught L cube P naught. That is dimensional formula for the volume that we have to write in terms of fundamental quantity or the base quantity, that is mass, length, time in a square bracket. Since the volume is length into breadth into height, so that's why its dimensional formula within a square bracket we have to write m naught L cube T naught. Similarly, the dimensional formula for the speed or the velocity is within a square bracket m naught L T minus 1, because the speed is distance upon time and distance is measured in length. Similarly, velocity is displacement upon time and the displacement is also measured in length. So that's why its dimensional formula is m naught L T minus 1 within square bracket. Like that, we have to take the other physical quantities. One more, that is acceleration. So that is m naught L T minus 2 within a square bracket. This is the dimensional formula. Now if we equate this dimensional formula with the physical quantity, then that is known as dimensional equations. So you see here, an equation obtained by equating a physical quantity with its dimensional formula is called dimensional equation of that physical quantity. For example, volume equal to m naught L cube T naught within a square bracket. Similarly, velocity or the speed equal to m naught L T minus 1 within a square bracket. Acceleration within a square bracket m naught L T minus 2. So that is called dimensional formula and dimensional equations. Now quantities have the same dimensional formulas. So these are the few physical quantities which I have mentioned here. They are having the same dimensional formula. Like impulse, momentum, both are having the same dimensional formula because impulse is equal to the change in linear momentum. Similarly, work, energy, torque, moment of force, all are having the same dimensional formula. Angular momentum, Planck's constant, rotational impulse, they are also having same dimensional formula. Like that, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up to the 10. That is stress, pressure, modulus of elasticity, energy density, force constant, surface tension, surface energy, they are having same dimensional formula. Angular velocity, frequency, velocity gradient, they are also having the same dimensional formula. Gravitational potential, latent heat, having the same dimensional formula. thermal capacity, entropy, universal gas constant and Boltzmann constant, they are having the same dimensional formula. Force and thrust having same dimensional formula, and power and luminous flux also having the same dimensional formula. Like that, so many other physical quantities are also there which are having also the same dimensional formula, but here I mentioned the 10, so you have to learn these 10 at least. Now dimensional formula for some physical quantities, they are the general physical quantities. So their symbol, their formula and dimensional formula along with the unit, they are compiled in one table, so that you can see here: length, mass, time, area, volume, linear density, mass density, specific gravity or relative density, specific volume, time period and frequency. So if you know the formula, then easily you can write the dimensional formula. So at least you have to know how to write dimensional formula by knowing the formula, and some physical quantities are compiled in this table along with their symbol, formula, dimensional formula with their units. Now dimensional analysis and its applications. So dimensional analysis basically is a tool to find or check relations among physical quantities by using their dimensions. When the magnitude of two or more physical quantities are multiplied, their units should be treated in the same manner as ordinary algebraic symbols. So when we can cancel identical units in the numerator and denominator. Similarly, physical quantities represented by symbols on both sides of a mathematical equation must have the same dimensions. So dimension analysis can be used for the three purposes. Here you can see that: to check the dimensional consistency of equation by using the principle of homogeneity of dimensions, and second one is to convert units in one system into another system. Third one is to drive the relation between the physical quantity based on certain reasonable assumptions. So these are the three uses of the dimensional analysis. One by one I explain you by taking one examples. So first you can see that checking the dimensional consistency of equations. So first you understand the principle of homogeneity. Principle of homogeneity of dimensions means the magnitude of physical quantity may be added or subtracted from one another only if they have the same dimensions. For example, we say that initial velocity can be added to or subtracted from final velocity because they have the same dimensional formula, that is m naught L t minus 1. So you can understand like that the same physical quantity can be added or subtracted. Means the velocity can be added with velocity. The velocity cannot be added by the force. So you remember it. But the force and momentum cannot be added because their dimensional formulas are different and are mlt minus 2 and mlt minus 1 respectively. So in a simple way you can understand the same physical quantities can be added or subtracted. In terms of the dimensional analysis, we can say that they must have the same dimensional formula. Now we take one example to check the dimensional consistency of V square equal to U square plus 2AS by using the dimensional analysis. So for that purpose, what you have to do, you have the equation and in it you have one left hand side and right hand side. If the dimensional formula on left and right hand side of the equation are equal, then we say that the equation is dimensionally consistent or dimensionally correct. So in the left hand side is V. So dimensional formula for velocity equal to m naught L t minus 1 within a square bracket. Similarly on right hand side there are two parts. So in one part the initial velocity, which is having the dimensional formula m naught L t minus 1 within a square bracket. Similarly acceleration having the dimensional formula m naught L t minus 2 within a square bracket. Displacement m naught L t naught within a square bracket 2. 2 is a number, so it is dimensionless. Now substitute these dimensions in the given equation, that is V square equal to U square plus 2AS. So what you will get, ml t minus 1 m naught L t minus 1 whole square, that is onto the left hand side. On right hand side m naught L t minus 1 within a square bracket raised to the power 2 plus acceleration dimensional formula m naught L t minus 2. Then for displacement, that is m naught L t naught within a square bracket. Simplify it, then what you will get on left hand side within a square bracket m naught L2 t minus 2 within a square bracket equal to, on right hand side there are two parts. So in first part m naught L2 t minus 2 within a square bracket plus in the second part also m naught L2 t minus 2 within square bracket. So you see that on both left and right side each term of this equation having the same dimensions. On left hand side is also the same dimensions, on right hand side also the same dimensions. So therefore the given equation is dimensionally correct or dimensionally consistent. So that's why we can say that this equation V square equal to U square plus 2AS is dimensionally consistent. We take another example like the equation S equal to ut plus half at square, where U represent the initial velocity, A is the uniform acceleration, S is the displacement, T is the time. Similarly you perform, say left hand side is displacement, so its dimensional equation is S equal to m naught L t naught within a square bracket. On and to the right hand side two parts, one is ut, for it the dimensional formula m naught L t minus 1, that is initial velocity within a square bracket, and for time t within a square bracket. So it becomes m naught L t naught, because the base are same, so power can be added, t minus 1 plus 1, so it comes t raised to the power 0. Now the second part, half at square, half is a number, so dimensionless, A is acceleration and T is time. So substitute their dimensional formulas and simplify it. So again you are getting m naught L t naught. So what the relation we are getting by the above discussion, that each term of the above equation having the same dimensions. Therefore, the given equation is dimensionally correct or dimensionally consistent. Important thing you have to note down here, very important point. If an equation fails the consistency test, it is proved wrong. But if it passes, it is not proved right. Thus, a dimensionally correct equation need not to be actually an exact equation, an exact correct equation, but a dimensionally wrong, that is incorrect or inconsistent equation must be a wrong. For example, equations v square equal to u square minus 2as or v square equal to u square plus half as are dimensionally correct but are incorrect equations in mechanics. So you have to remember this point is very important. Now another example we take to check the dimensional consistency of half mv square equal to mgh. Similarly, you have to solve it as we discussed previously. Here you can also write dimensional equation of each physical quantity, and after that you substitute the given equation, and then you see that on both the sides dimensional equations are same, then we say that it is dimensionally consistent or dimensionally correct. So here you can see that for all physical quantities the dimensional equations are written for mass ml naught t naught within square bracket, for velocity m naught lt minus 1 within square bracket, acceleration due to gravity m naught lt minus 2 within square bracket, height h m naught lt naught within square bracket. Substitute all these values in the given equation, then you will get m l naught t naught m naught l t minus 1 within square bracket raised to the power 2 on the left side, and on right side m l naught t naught m naught l t minus 2 m naught l t naught. Of course all they are in square bracket. Half is a number, so it is dimensionless. After simplifying we get on left hand side within square bracket ml2 t minus 2 which is equal to within square bracket ml2 t minus 2. So from here each term in this above equation having the same dimensions, therefore the given equation is dimensionally correct or dimensionally consistent. So this is about dimensional consistency of a given formula. Now we take second application, conversion of units in one system into another system. So for that purpose we find a formula, and with the help of that formula we have to convert unit in one system into another system by using the concept of dimensions. So if dimensions are known for a physical quantity, then it is easy to express it in FPS, CGS, MKS, SI systems or any other arbitrary chosen system. It is basically based on to the fact that numerical value multiplied by unit, that is equal to constant. So if we say that on changing a unit, numerical value will also get changed. If n1 and n2 are the numerical values of a physical quantity and u1 and u2 be the units respectively in two different systems of unit, then what you will get n1 u1 equal to n2 u2. To understand it by a simple example, that is 1 meter equal to 100 centimeter. So 1 is n1, u1 is unit in which length is measured in meter. Another unit is centimeter, in it the numerical value n2 is 100. So we have to convert by using the dimensional analysis concept. How you can do it? First we have to write the unit in terms of dimensional formula of the physical quantity. That is, we say that M1 L1 T1 within square bracket with its dimensions, that is raised to the powers, mass is having A, length B times C. Similarly, in the another unit we have to write M2 raised to the power A, L2 raised to the power B, T2 raised to the power C along with its numerical value N2. And after that we calculate or make a formula that if suppose we want to calculate the numerical value N2, then that expression can be written as N2 equal to N1 within a square bracket M1 upon M2 raised to the power A, and then within a square bracket L1 upon L2 raised to the power B within a square bracket T1 upon T2 raised to the power C. So that becomes one formula for converging units in one system into another system. Now we see from here, smaller the unit, bigger the magnitude of a physical quantity and vice versa. I just take one example that 1 meter equal to 100 centimeter. So meter is the bigger unit. So magnitude is 1, whereas centimeter is smaller unit, but its magnitude is 100. That is bigger. Another example, 1 Newton equal to 10 raised to power 5 dynes. Newton is bigger and dyne is smaller. So you remember this point also. Now we take one example to convert 1 joule into arc. So you have to identify that which physical quantity has the SI unit of joule. SI unit, that is joule. So joule is the SI unit of energy or work, and erg is the CGS unit of energy or work. So first of all we have to write the dimensional formula for energy or work, that is ML2T minus 2. Now as we know that the unit of energy or work in SI system is kg meter square per second square, whereas in CGS system gram centimeter square per second square respectively. Now we follow the steps which I discussed just now, that is N1 U1 equal to N2 U2. So here N1 unit is joule, in place of U1 is joule, and in place of U2 is erg. Then you see that here one table is given so that you can understand how to convert. In the first column, magnitude and the physical quantities. In the second column, SI system and the numerical value in terms of SI system, and the third column is CGS system in which the numerical value. So you see that in above question, 1 joule, that is SI unit of work or energy. So N1 equal to 1, mass 1 kg which is equal to 1000 gram, length 1 meter which is equal to 100 centimeter, second 1 second. In CGS system N2 we have to find out mass in 1 gram, length is 1 centimeter, time is 1 second. Now the dimensional formula is ML2T minus 2 within a square bracket. So we have to find out ABC, because now here we have to apply a formula N2 equal to M1 M2 raised to the power A, L1 L2 raised to the power B, T1 upon T2 raised to the power C. So we have to write dimensional equation or dimensional formula in terms of ABC, and then we find out ABC by comparing the dimensions. So within a square bracket, M raised to the power A, L raised to the power B, T raised to the power C, and that we equate with dimensional formula of work or energy ml2 t minus 2. Therefore, we get A equal to 1, B equal to 2 and C equal to minus 2. Then we apply that formula n2 equal to n1 within square bracket m1 upon m2 raised to the power a, l1 upon l2 raised to the power b, t1 upon t2 raised to the power c, and all they are within square bracket. Now we substitute here. In place of n1 is 1 and the dimensions we have to substitute, and we have to convert into CGS system. So all units we have to write in CGS system. So n2 equal to 1. In place of 1 kg we have to write 1000 gram divided by 1 gram, because m2 is in CGS system, raised to the power 1, that is A equal to 1. Then 100 centimeter, which is 1 meter, equal to divided by 1 centimeter raised to the power 2, because B equal to 2. Now C equal to minus 2. Therefore, time is 1 second in SI system as well as in CGS system. So 1 second upon 1 second. So when you simplify it, then what you will get? N2 equal to 1, 1000 raised to the power 1, 100 raised to the power 2, 1 raised to the power minus 2. Simplify it, then n2 equal to 10 is power 7. That is, you are getting the numerical value in CGS system is 10 is power 7. So we can write here 1 joule equal to 10 is power 7 gram centimeter square per second square. Or we can say that 1 joule equal to 10 is power 7 erg. So this is the example of converting 1 joule into erg. That is one system of unit into another system of unit. Similarly, we take another example here and follow the same steps to convert 1 Newton into a system where the mass is measured in milligram, length in kilometer, time in minutes. So the Newton is the unit of force. So the dimensional formula for force is mlt minus 2 within a square bracket. So from here A equal to 1, B equal to 1, C equal to minus 2. And same formula you have to apply. That is the mass 1 kg equal to 10 to the power 6 milligram. 1 meter is 10 to the power minus 3 kilometer. 1 second is 1 upon 60 minute. Apply the formula n2 equal to n1, m1 upon m2 raised to the power a, l1 upon l2 raised to the power b, t1 upon t2 raised to the power c. Substitute the values. That is n2 equal to 1. In place of m1, write 10 to the power 6 milligram. That is kg. 1 kg we have to write in milligram. Divided by 1 milligram raised to the power 1, because a equal to 1. And then L1, which is 1 meter, we have to write in kilometer. So 1 upon 1000 kilometer divided by 1 kilometer raised to the power 1. Then time 1 upon 60 second divided by 1 second raised to the power minus 2. Simplify it, you will get n2 equal to 1 into 10 to the power 6 raised to the power 1, 10 to the power minus 3 raised to the power 1, 60 raised to the power 2. Here basically it is a minute. 1 upon 60 minute, because we have to convert in minute. So 1 second equal to 1 upon 60 minute, and this is also a minute because we have to convert in minute. So after simplification we get n2 equal to 3.6 into 10 to the power 6. So 1 Newton equal to 3.6 into 10 to the power 6 milligram kilometer per minute square. So this is the another example of conversion of one system of unit into another system. Now the third application, reducing relation among the physical quantities or to establish a relation between different physical quantities. So a simple method that we have to use, that is the principle of homogeneity, and apply the concept of dimensional analysis. Means if we know the various factors on which a physical quantity depends, then we can find a relation among different factors by using the principle of homogeneity. Means if we know the factors on which a physical quantity depends, then we just make them directly proportional to that physical quantity along with their dimensions. For example, we can take, let us find an expression for the time period T of simple pendulum. This is capital T. Then the time period may depends upon mass m of the bow of pendulum. Second factor, length L of the pendulum. Third factor, acceleration due to gravity G at the place where pendulum is suspended. So it means the time period depends on mass, length and acceleration due to gravity. So you just see the solution, make directly proportional along with their dimensions. So T directly proportional to m raised to the power A, directly proportional to L raised to the power B, directly proportional to G raised to the power C. Combine them, you will get T directly proportional to m raised to the power A, L raised to the power B, G raised to the power C. Or we can say capital T equal to, for omitting this proportionality sign, we require a constant K. So T equal to K, m raised to the power A, L raised to the power B, G raised to the power C. Mark this equation number 1, where K is dimensionless constant of proportionality. Then we have to write the dimensions on either side of equation 1. So what we get? On left hand side, time periods. So within bracket we have to write time T, that is within square bracket, or you can also write m naught L naught T. And on right side, within square bracket m raised to the power A, within square bracket L raised to the power B, within square bracket LT minus 2 raised to the power C. Base are same, power can be added, simplify it. Then capital T equal to capital M raised to the power A, L raised to the power B plus C. Here you can see that here this L and this L, base are same, power can be added, and T raised to power minus 2C. Of course, all are in square brackets. Comparing the dimensions on both the sides. So M equal to 0 because left hand side dimension of mass is 0 and B plus C is also 0. Dimension of length is 0 and minus 2C equal to 1. Then from here we have to find out the value of ABC, then substitute in equation number 1, then we will get the desired expression. So when you substitute these values in equation 1, then what you will get? After calculating the value of ABC, that is A equal to 0, and when C we have to find out, then C equal to minus half, and then when you substitute this value of C here, then B equal to half. Then substitute this value of ABC in equation number 1, then equation 1 becomes T equal to K m raised to the power 0, L raised to the power half, G raised to the power minus half. That is the equation number 2. Simplify it, then we can write T equal to K L upon G raised to the power half, or we can write T equal to K under root L upon G. Mark this equation number 3. So up to here, if you solve, the full weightage will be given. But if you know the value of the constant, then you write it. As we know the value of constant here, which we find experimentally, that is K equal to 2 pi, then T equal to 2 pi under root L upon G. So this is the desired result or the expression which we find by using the dimensional analysis. So these are the three applications which I discussed here with you. Now there are some demerits of dimensional analysis. The first one is the value of constants in an equation cannot be determined as the constant do not have the dimensions. Second one is only dimensional consistency and not the physical consistency can be tested. Third one is dimensions can be found from the physical quantity, but physical quantity cannot be always guessed from the dimensions because two or more quantities may have the same dimensions. Fourth one, the equation containing the dependency on more than three quantities cannot be determined using only M, L and T. Note that if four independent quantities are involved, then four variables and four simultaneous equations are required. Hence, there must be four fundamental dimensions. Fifth one is the equation containing exponential, trigonometric, logarithm functions, etc. cannot be derived as they do not have dimensions. Sixth one, the equations having the relations other than product or quotient cannot be derived. So if you like my video, like it, subscribe, press the bell icon, stay safe, stay healthy, learn physics with my YouTube channel by staying at home. Thank you and have a nice day.